and welcome to another exciting episode of Fun with Flags. I am, well, you can see who I am, but this is my good friend Soda. How are you doing, good sir?
Doing pretty good. It's raining outside, but it's supposed to be snowing. Um,
Hey, at
getting
least you
close.
got something.
That's true. Getting ready for Christmas here the day we're recording this. So yeah, no, I'm doing okay. Doing okay. You
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. As
good?
fine as can be.
Yeah.
And now, for those of you wondering why I'm doing back two episodes back to back with me as the host of this show, the show where the show called Fun with Flags. I probably should have said that up top, but the show where we teach each other about each
Your
other's
mom knows what show
countries.
this is. Okay.
What?
It's like your mom knows what show this is. Okay.
All right, fine. But on the off chance there's someone else watching,
Thank you.
so yeah, it's the show where we teach each other about each other's respective countries. Where on my turn, I teach my good friend Soda about Israel, and he teaches me about Canada. Hence this. So yeah. Now the reason I'm doing a back to back me as the host primarily because I had two topics that sort of intertwined or kind of connected to each other, and also this also gives us an excuse to have Soda's episode on Christmas and more Christmassy themed.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out perfectly.
Out of
And
curiosity, how much do you know about Christmas?
I kind of live in the place where Christmas happened, but
So you
I
don't know
mean,
anything about traditions and shit.
I'm sure there's new stuff you can tell me that I didn't know,
Okay.
but I reckon I know pretty much. But we're not here to talk about that.
No,
That's not
sorry, it's just so I know what direction to go. That's all I needed. That's
okay.
all.
Cool. So all of that will be addressed next week. Today we're here to talk about one of the greatest natural disasters in the history of the state of Israel, and I'm using specifically the state of Israel, not the land of Israel, which is several thousand years old. Specifically, the currently 75-year-old state of Israel, the largest and most devastating. Uh, sorry, hold on. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. It is, if I remember correctly, it was the largest uh, natural civilian tragedy uh, of all time until 2021 with the Miran disaster, which is probably a topic I'll never address. But yeah, so it was one of the biggest natural disasters in the state of Israel until 2021, and it is of course the Mount Carmel uh, forest fire, brush fire, bushfire. I've never really quite understood 100% the term used for this, but forest fire. Let's call it that. So before we start, do you know what the Mount Carmel is?
No, I don't know.
It's
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
it's a mountain in around the city.
Oh, 50, your sound cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked on the mute on my microphone, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
so yeah, Haifa is the I have no idea where this cut out, but it's a mountain in near the area
Definitely
of
cut out.
Haifa, near the area of Haifa, which is the most northern port city in Israel. Probably should have brought up several different images. Forgot to include a map of where Haifa is, but
Nice.
it's always got to be me. I always got to miss something, right? But
It happens.
now, Kahyetza. So the mountain itself is what considered one of the most uh, beautiful and pastoral areas in Israel, and sadly, it is also the site for one of the largest uh, tragedies that ever hit the country. Now I'm kind of set on this. I gotta show a map. Uh, can't find a good one. Never mind. Never mind. We'll just keep going. So this forest fire, which, as you very elegantly pointed out last week, to you it's just a minor thing, but for us it was a pretty big thing.
Well, I mean, it's a major thing, but it's we're used to it.
Yeah. So this forest fire lasted for around 5 days between the 2nd of December 2010 and the 6th of December that same year 2010. What's the just so we're on equal footing? What's the longest a forest fire has lasted in your area?
Hold on, give me one moment there, because there's a few. Longest forest fire in BC. Da-da-da-da-da. BC sets all-time record. Oh, this is this year all-time record for area burn for months leading into wildfire season.
Months. Okay.
Months, yeah. Oh yeah, they can go on for weeks, months here. That's how big ours get.
Because you got such a huge stretch of land
With lots of trees, and it
yeah.
gets really humid here during the summer, which doesn't help, and so that causes forest fires quite a bit. There have been towns around here that have completely been destroyed because of forest fires in the last 10 years. I can think of two. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And I know when my dad was a logger, because my dad used to work in the forest industry. Oh yeah, every summer they would be laid off because of fire warnings.
Hmm.
Yeah, like it's yeah. So that's what I mean. Like it's everything occurrence over here during the summer.
So while you were looking that up, I actually did look up a map of Haifa. You can see the city over there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can't quite read it, but
Hold on. Remember app.
yeah, you've got that, but the viewers don't.
Yeah. Well, sorry, viewers. Okay, go ahead.
So you can see where the Carmel is, right? It says right there on the left side of the picture.
Yep. Right by Hadar, the lower city, South Banks.
Yeah, so that's where the Carmel is. More the Carmel area, not necessarily the Carmel mountain. So since we don't have a proper picture of it, we're just gonna rely on this, which is the picture I chose to start off. So you can see the city of Haifa in the back there. You see that there's little spike
Yep.
there. That's the picture I just showed you. Where the smoke is, that's where the mountain is, more or less.
Yikes.
All right. So I'm gonna do something that normally you do and I don't. But if I don't do it, it's gonna be a pretty short episode. So let's just go ahead and do it. I'm just gonna read off of Wikipedia, which is what you do, and I will be reading this off of the Hebrew Wikipedia and translating it on the spot. So there might be some uh, discrepancies and
Why don't you
pauses.
just use timeout? Why don't you just use the English website?
Because the Hebrew one is the more specific to what we're discussing today.
Oh, okay, okay, totally fair.
The I looked it up. The English one is much more broad than what we're
And
looking.
50, instead of translating it on the spot, why don't you do like you did when you showed me that picture of the fruit earlier? It just translated in English on your screen.
What I did earlier is use the English version.
Oh, okay.
You get my meaning?
Okay, now I understand. Sorry, continue.
Okay, so like I said earlier, the uh, forest fire in the Mount Carmel lasted from the 2nd till the 6th of December 2010 in the Carmel area in the state of Israel, during which 44 people lost their lives, about 17,000 were evicted from their homes, and close to 25 uh, uh, that can't be right. 25 square kilometers uh, uh, was was devastated. Among them, millions of trees caught fire. The Okay, let's skip that to the actual thing itself. Now, the background: the Carmel region is a very mountainous, hard to travel by car region, which also includes a wide variety of different forests, including many Jerusalem pine trees. Do you, by the
Why
way,
why is the mountain so hard to get to?
it's a bit rocky and it's kind of hard to navigate. There's some twists and turns on the road that kind of make traveling a bit difficult, but it's possible, and
Okay.
it's gonna come into play later in a bit of a thing that comes up later that's related to this matter. But do you have pine trees where you live, by the way?
Oh yeah, yeah. We got plenty of pine trees.
So
It's one of our more it's one of the ones we have more of.
all right, cool. Because so you know the problem with pine trees whenever a forest fire is involved, right? Yep. The pine cones just
Yeah,
explode and fly off and just ignite trees from several different miles away. So that,
yeah.
that was a major factor in this forest fire. The pine trees. Uh, Most of this is irrelevant. There have been a lot of smaller fires in the region, including the Great Fire of 1989. But the this one, the 2010 one, is the biggest one and the most devastating one. For comparison, the 1981 forest fire only only covered around 4,000. Um, Sorry, around four square kilometers. This one reached 25. So
Hmm.
five. This was literally 5 times bigger. Now, the autumn of 2010 was a particularly unusually dry and very lacking in rains.
Wait, 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 wait. Sorry, you said autumn, but what was the dates of the fire?
December.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't realize that was your autumn. First, I guess because I'm an
Autumn,
ignorant.
autumn is like September, October, and a little bit of November.
Yeah,
What's autumn for you?
that's what it is here. But you said it's in December, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, autumn leads into December,
Okay.
into
Sorry,
winter.
I just
So
misunderstood. What you said. I just
yeah,
misunderstood
so
that. Sorry.
so the autumn of that year was particularly very dry and very hot and warm, with and very very windy. So by that time December came around, and there still haven't been that many rains and wetness in the area. The area was much more prone to combustions, if you catch my meaning.
Mm.
Now, on the morning of Thursday, December 2nd, which was I believe the first day of Hanukkah, which we talked about last week, there was a warning from the meteorological service about possible forest fires. However, as per usual, uh, the fire department, rather, these really uh, facilities, the necessary facilities, didn't really take it very seriously, which of course is one of the major things that led to the October 7th massacre.
Mhm.
So history keeps repeating itself. But yes, so the fire department was sorely underprepared for such an event. Now, this is how we get into where it began. So around 11 noontime, the fire itself started, and I kid you not, as a result of a hookah charcoal that wasn't put out properly near the city of Osifia.
So most of the time over here, it is Mother Nature doing its thing, but there have been the occasion where it's because some dumbass lit something when you weren't supposed to and where you weren't supposed to. So, yeah, it happens over here rarely, but it does too. It
Yeah,
sucks because you want to
it,
kill the guy.
I understand, and this one wasn't like wasn't supposed to. It says he didn't put it out properly. Like you can light it, just remember to not dump it near uh, dry bushes or something.
Yeah.
Now, this is also a point of contention because originally it was believed that it happened as a result of igniting an illegal dumpster in the area of Osofia, and even two suspects were arrested on suspicion of starting the fire, but they were released when they were found innocent of the matter. As far as I know, the person responsible for lighting the hookah and did not putting out the charcoal properly has never been found.
Oh wow.
It's it's a bit morbid to think, but it's possible he might completely burned down the act, or maybe just got out of there before the fire got too serious. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
So the first report of the fire was brought up several minutes later by uh, a flight guide that saw the fire from the air by plane and by a resident of Osofia. And the first responders from the Carmel Park arrived in the area around 11:26. Remember, it started around 11, and
Hmm.
it took them about 20 minutes or so to reach the place.
That's
No,
pretty harsh.
what? Pretty
That's
what?
pretty harsh.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad way. Harsh means bad.
Yeah, I mean, this whole event just shows you how
Yeah.
badly prepared the
Well,
the fire department was.
again, and like that's again the difference is like I understand why this is a big thing for you because it rarely happens, and you
It
guys
doesn't rarely happen. I'm just saying we weren't prepared for something on this
right,
scale. I'm
right.
saying. All right. So right in the early few minutes of the event, it was very clear that the fire department needed backup, a serious backup, and even the use of fire planes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to even say this or translate this. What do you call the planes that put out fire with the? You call them fire planes, firefighting planes?
The planes?
Yeah.
Um, I actually don't know what the name is. Like we just say, hey, the planes are dumping water. Like, hold on, well, keep talking. I'll take a look.
So let's call it firefighting planes for now on,
Yeah, yeah.
for the moment. Now, the first plane, and again, this just shows you how bad things are. The first plane arrived around 12:45, almost 2 hours after the fire broke out, and by 10 past 2 p.m., around seven more planes also joined the fire. Did you find it yet?
I did. Yes, I was just waiting for you to finish. So what it is, it's not a specific type of plane. It's actually a regular plane. What they're doing is called water bombing. It's the use of aircraft or other aerial resources to combat wildfires. The type of aircrafts used include fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. Smoke jumpers and repellers are also classified as aerial firefighters, delivered to the fire by parachute from a variety of fixed-wing.
None of this is really important. Let's just call
No,
it
no, I'm just saying
firefighting
that's
plane.
what it is. So there you go.
Okay, you're just reading an entire Wikipedia page and we've got a whole lot of things to get
That was
through.
the first paragraph.
You could have just said there isn't a specific name. So let's just go with firefighting planes for the moment. All right. So by the time, what?
Water bombing.
Yeah, but I like the part where there's a plane in the name.
Fair.
So we're calling it firefighting plane because I said so.
Your episode, sorry.
So by the time that we reached in the story that I just started to break down, by around 2 p.m., the fire had already reached this. You're not
Yes. Yeah, that's a very familiar sight.
sadly so.
Yeah.
Now around. Okay, so this paragraph.
Did it again.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta watch where my hands go.
Hmm.
That can be interpreted in several different ways. But so around that same day, there were really strong, dry, hot winds that really made the fire spread. In addition to the pine cones, which we talked about earlier, and the fire quickly spread to the Hake River, the Mount Elon area, the region of the Damon prison, which is a very important point here that we'll talk about in just a minute, the Mount Shok- Shokif Reserve, and the Kibbutz Beit Oren, who were all of which were heavily damaged in the fire. And the fire also reached the area of um, the Carmel Forest Hotel, and even the youth village Yamin
Oh, wow.
Orad, or uh, uh, as well as uh, the Kadumim dig site, the Mishmar Carmel farm, and the Oren River area,
Hmm.
and even certain areas such as uh, 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 okay, that's a different paragraph. We'll talk about it later. Now,
All right.
before that, so before we talk about other areas that were hit in the subsequent days of the fire, we gotta talk about, and of course he gets up right
Dude,
where I'm.
I'm right here. It's not like I'm going
No,
into another
I just
room.
need you watching while I'm presenting something. We gotta talk about this. Now, on its surface, a perfectly ordinary, unassuming road,
Uh huh.
right? This road was then renamed the Death Turn,
Okay.
and mainly due to what is known as the bus disaster. Now, I mentioned the Damone prison a few minutes ago, right?
Yes.
Now, as soon as firefighting departments noticed that the fire was slowly reaching the prison area around the Carmel area, and in fearing for the safety of the prisoners, the um, prison guards from around the area were sent to help evacuate the prisoners and get them to a safe location. Of course, being prisoners, you can kind of imagine it's kind of a difficult thing to
Mhm.
do. That's why they needed all this backup. So a bus that led prison guards who have recently graduated from an officer's course a few weeks prior to that were led to the area of the prison, and on this specific road, on this specific turn, that is when the bus itself became a victim of the fire. It got caught up in the fire and burned down completely. Out of the 40 people on the bus, 37 perished in the fire.
Oh, wow.
This 36 of the prison guards and the bus driver who drove them to the area. Also, in the tragedy itself, three firefighters were also victims of the fire itself. Danny Hayat, Ori Samandayev, and a young fire watcher, Elad Riven. Uh, who all three of which were have perished trying to save the people on the bus. Now, three more people were also counted among the dead. The police officers who also drove to the area to save the bus. A police officer named Lior Borek, Yitzhak Melina, and the woman that became kind of a symbol of this great tragedy, Brigadier Ahuva Tomer. What you're seeing here is basically the last time anyone saw her alive.
Oh,
She
wow.
she was like the head of the police stations in the area, and she was really she kind of took control of the situation, directing forces from one place to the other, sending
Your job.
officers and firefighters. They weren't really called firefighters back then, but she was sending the firefighters to the specific points and locations, and went there on her own to try and rescue the prison guards from the bus. And she wasn't burned completely like the people on the bus itself. She suffered severe burns and was forced to be evacuated into a hospital, where after days of the doctors working 24/7 trying to save her life, eventually they failed, and her situation kept getting worse and worse and worse by the minute, until she eventually perished from the severe burns that she suffered.
That's
She was really like the great symbol of this great tragedy. A highly decorated officer, recommended for so many higher jobs in the police department. Uh, on the fast track to becoming the chief of police in a few years, but unfortunately, her career was cut short as a result of the fire itself. Now, what I'm going to show here is just images of what was left of the bus by the time it was found. So here we can
oh,
see the remains of the bus. Obviously, I believe the bodies were already removed
I
by
would
the
hope so.
time they filmed it. This is a much longer clip that also shows two burned cars. I'm assuming one of them was the police car that Uwe Tomer drove to rescue the people on the bus. But in a second, you'll see there's the bus. Again, clearly, if you'll pardon the pun, uh, it was busted. I'm really sorry to take advantage of this great
Do
tragedy,
not
but
be. Do not be. Well played, sir.
yeah, so I mean, going back into the tragic part of it, it's often said that by the first responders who arrived at the scene, that the charred bodies of the prison guards were found hugging each other as they were hugging
Oh,
as they were as they burned to death.
that's
Uh,
harsh.
Now, the local news station also provided this quick animation of the event. Apologize for the low quality, but this is the best we got to work with here. So this is more or less how the bus itself drove through the turn and caught fire right before hitting that tree.
Oh, wow.
This was all done under fire, all in an attempt to save prisoners. Uh, yeah, that's what really made this from a that's what really elevated this tragedy to the unimaginable levels that it ended up being. The majority of the people who perished from the fire also were in that bus. Now, there were also a lot of people who were injured or suffered severe um, asphyxiation from smoke, but most of them recovered. Uh, the bus itself, they really kind of had no choice.
Hmm.
Now, here's where we get into the second half of this great story, is that during the first day of the fire, no less than 400 firefighters, oh sorry, no no less than 400 firemen and 100 fire women participated in the efforts to put out the fire.
Hmm.
And later it was backed up by firefighters from all over the country and from all over the world. In addition to that, uh, asking for help from the international community, uh, including the use of the largest firefighting plane in the world, the American Evergreen 747 super tanker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Have you heard of the super tanker? Is it something that's been
I'm not
used
overly
before?
familiar with planes and stuff.
All right, but has that something that's been used in the forest fires
I
in your
couldn't
area?
tell, like I said, I couldn't tell you what type of plane.
All right, cool. So the villagers and settlers that were evacuated as a result of the fire were near Etzion Ein Hod, the aforementioned youth village Yamin Orad, Ein Hod, Megadim, Hotrim, and parts of the Dania neighborhood in Haifa, and even um, the small town of Tirata Carmel in the area. And earlier, the Citrine village, Prison 6, the Carmel prison, and the Tirata Carmel health center were also evacuated from the area, along with many IDF bases in the area. Also, the University of Haifa also evacuated some of the students earlier that same day, and a special war room was brought up by the IDF police, the IDF sorry, not the IDF police, the Israeli police, the Israeli prison guards, the Red Star of David, which is basically the Israeli version of the Red Cross, and the Israeli firefighting service, and the IDF itself. The IDF also took an active role in the firefighting efforts itself. The uh, the war room itself was also visited by the at the time Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Minister for Internal Security Yitzhak Aharonovich. The Road 4 was also blocked in the area of the fires, and on Friday, the 3rd of December, parts of Road number 2 were also briefly closed off. Uh, yeah, here we go. As a result of the high catastrophe, tragedy, whichever way you want to translate it, the IDF also provided two uh, search and rescue battalions with uh, um, search and rescue helicopters and lighting helicopters, along with a more firefighting aircraft and a special D9 uh, bulldozers to help clear the areas of trees and potential flammable elements that could contribute to the fire itself. Now, around the 4th of December was the first partial success in suppressing the fire, primarily as a result of the arrival of the Russian plane Ilyushin IL-76,
Hmm.
uh, and only after that, people from the Tirata Carmel, the Denia neighborhood in Haifa, Kfar Galim, and Hotrim and Megadim were allowed to return back to their homes. On Sunday, December 5th, uh, the um, the fires began to subside, and by the late hours of the evening, there was a police air force patrol in the area that announced that there were no significant uh, areas still burning, and a proper control of the fire was achieved after 77 hours of struggle. The
Holy
people of
shit!
Ein Hod, Ein, uh, wow, these two places just have very similar names. Ein Chod, Nir Etzion, and Yamin Ored were allowed to return back to their homes, and uh, Yamin Ored, which was completely abandoned, and Ein Hod had no firefighting forces at all. As a result, many houses were burned cleanly. Um, by the evening hours, the the fire was almost completely uh, put out, it was only put out in the early days, in the early hours of the following day. According to the fire department, no less than 9 tons of water were sprayed to put out the fires, and the majority um, of the work was put on the and the IDF Air Force.
Hmm.
Okay, so here we go. The source of the fire was, as we mentioned, the charcoal from the hookah, and here's the somewhat more uplifting side of the story is that the state of Israel received a great level of international aid by way of Air Force, aerial firefighting uh, from many countries around the area,
Well, that's
uh,
good.
who made no less than 130 uh, round trips, and um, uh, the Israeli aircraft made slightly more than 500 back and forth rounds between
Mhm.
putting out the fire. Isn't it so nice that there just happens to be a sea right next to where this whole thing is taking place? It's not
Right.
too near, but it was
That's the
close
one
enough.
advantage you have over us.
Well, the big advantage that you have over us is it's a lot colder in your area.
Right. Oh, totally. Well, comparative to you guys, sure. But I mean, like when these happen, it's fucking hot as balls.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna list the Wikipedia also gives us a list of the different countries that uh, came to help, and we're just gonna go over each and every one of them and talk about uh, their contribution as we go over. Sorry, my throat is really in need of a tea right now, but so yeah, I'm just gonna show the flag of the country while talking about it. So are you ready?
Let's go.
Azerbaijan. So uh, two firefighting helicopters. Italy. Hold on.
Yeah.
Italy. Italy donated two firefighting planes, one firefighting helicopter, one plane of supplies, and sorry, which contained dozens of tons of firefighting equipment, fire suppressing equipment. Sorry. The United States,
Naturally.
easily the biggest contributor in this matter, it contributed no less than two Hercules planes carrying 20 tons of fire suppressant each, and also three experts in aerial firefighting.
Yeah, they help us. They help us. If the fires are close to the border, they will help us.
Yeah, I imagine so because they're so close. I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely have an interest
Yeah.
there. Now, the next country is Bulgaria,
Hmm.
which contributed with two firefighting planes and 120 firemen. Sorry. Uh, Germany also came in with one firefighting plane. Same thing did the Netherlands, one firefighting plane. The United Kingdom provided three helicopters for firefighters from the Flight 84, okay, of the United Kingdom. One of the biggest surprises, of course, was Turkey, whose relations with Israel at the time was, shall we say, complicated. All right, they
Yes.
contributed. They contributed two firefighting planes and two firefighting helicopters.
Hmm.
Greece was among the first to send aid and contribute with four firefighting planes and a one supply airplane. Uh, Believe it or not, even Jordan provided three firefighting trucks. Uh, Egypt also arrived with one firefighting plane, two firefighting helicopters, and plenty of fire suppressant equipment. Spain also contributed with four firefighting planes. France also came in with three firefighting planes and 80 tons of fire suppressant. Here's what one that you'll appreciate. Canada also
Yay.
came in with three firefighting planes and three firefighting helicopters. Cyprus came in with one firefighting plane and one firefighting helicopter. Croatia came in with two firefighting planes. Romania, one firefighting uh, uh, helicopter. And this one is the longest on the Wikipedia. Russia
Wow.
came in with a team of 22 firefighting psychologists and experts, as well as a firefighting plane. Sorry, what a naval firefighting plane, uh, the B-200 model. What and one in the aforementioned fire, firefighting plane, the Ilyushin IL-76,
Mm.
and five additional firefighting planes from the emergency services, as well as Switzerland with one firefighting plane and three firefighting helicopters. Believe it or not, even the Palestinian Authority had a hand in putting out the fires,
Mm.
sending three firefighting uh, trucks and 21 firefighters. Now, during which time, of course, Israel also rented the services of the largest firefighting plane in the world, the aforementioned Evergreen supertanker, at a cost of 1.5 million shekels per day.
Wow.
Yeah, this sort of turned into a bit of a repeat of the Cold War between Russia and the United States to kind of one up each other and see who can contribute more to putting out this fire. It's almost like they were using Israel as their new fighting ground. As no, I'm helping Israel more. No, I'm helping Israel more. I'm even giving them five planes. Well, yeah, well, I'm giving them the biggest plane in the world. So it became
Jesus.
that bit of a dick measuring contest
That's what I
between
was gonna say. Yeah, it's a dick
the
measuring contest.
U.S.
My lord.
and the dick measuring contest between the U.S. and Russia all over again. Now, as mentioned in the bus, the jail guard bus, there were sorry, there were 38 victims the um, of the fire, as mentioned. 37 of the jail guards and and one driver, plus six more people were who also perished. Three firefighting firemen and three police officers. How does that end up being 44? But I
Something
think the math is off. But at the end of the day, what matters is 44 people lost their lives in the fire, and the initial estimate for property damage was estimated between 120 to 150 million shekels, and an additional 120 million shekels of damage done to the forest and the intersection roads during this time. No less than 24 square kilometers in the area of Mount Carmel were burned completely. Great damage to the nature in the area. The animals in the life reserve Khaybar were immediately released so that they can escape, and later brought back and rescued and brought back to the animal life reserve later. Unfortunately, all of the reptiles in the area were destroyed because they weren't fast enough to get to safety.
wow.
around 4 million trees went up in flames, and it was a great number of air pollution done to the area. Although considering it's Haifa, it's more or less
It's par for the
business.
course.
Yeah, business as usual when it
Yeah.
comes to air pollution in the area. Now, the heavily affected cities and settlements were Beit Oren, uh, which over a third of the houses were burned cleanly, as well as the villages of Ein Hod, and Yamin Ored. Around 250 houses were burned, and about 74 of them, there was nothing left of the houses. The settlement of Givat Volpson, which is at the heart of the reserve, was almost completely burned. And when I say completely, I mean 5 out of the total of 6 houses there. It's a
Shit.
very small settlement.
Even
Uh,
smaller now.
you had to go there.
Hey, you did. Why can't I?
Well, touche. So here are some images. Here's some of the clips from the fire that went on during those days. I'm guessing it's nothing too unusual for you, but I mean, just look at
Well,
this.
I mean, not like this. I mean, like we see a lot of news stuff, but it's not filmed like this. Yours is like this is something different. This looks like something.
They don't really go up close and personal and film like this.
You don't see that much. No.
Well, I guess the Israeli news coverage is a lot more extensive than Canadian ones. I remember, like people were comparing the way it looked to a volcano. I mean, just look at the efforts that people putting in. This is, I believe, the Israeli plane. Here's another look of the fire. I mean, just look at the scale and the distance of it. Look how close it was to the cities.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This is the fire during the night, which
Yeah.
there was a lot less firefighting during the night. They really mostly tried to save it for during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have some clips that I hand picked out of the planes. This is, I believe, the Russian plane, the Ilyushin, that I can't properly name. You can see it's Russia because of the flag.
Yep.
And here is the dumping of the fire suppressant all around the area. And these are just some more shots of the plane itself and the plane docking. Some insider look at what the plane itself looks like. Here's, I believe, the same plane. Note that this is one of the smaller planes. Here's one of the helicopters that was sent to assist.
Yeah, with the bucket.
Yeah. And here you'll see the longest clip out of all the ones that I brought up, for the planes at least. Here's some more shots of just the plane itself in action. I believe this is the Russian plane.
Yeah.
This might be the Russian plane. This might actually be the American plane, the super tanker. But you can tell that it's doing work. I believe this is one of the Greek planes, I think, because it's relatively smaller and therefore much quicker. And this is the much larger plane. Here's them taking the water from the Mediterranean Sea all the way back to the area, the affected areas. So yeah, the planes basically worked all day, more or less, for several days from several different countries. But yeah, so this event also really exposed how horribly unprepared the firefighting department was to the event itself. Of course, they said repeatedly that that some steps were made to prevent this thing from ever happening again. Some more firefighting planes were purchased and put into good use. Sadly, around 8 years later, when the repeated fires, as a result of Hamas, the repeated fires in farmlands and farm areas started happening. This also exposed how the lessons from this event were clearly not met
Mm.
in time to stop the Hamas attacks of 2018. Now, here is where we get to some of the more controversial parts of this story. Around a year later, the still Prime Minister at the time, Benjamin Netanyahu, uh, arrived on the very scene of the events, namely the area overlooking the death road, uh, this road specifically, and put up this monument with the names of all 44 uh, of the people who perished on that day,
Hmm.
with obviously the symbols of the police department, the firefighting department, and the prison guard department, as well as this statue right here, which, as you can see, is attached to the other part of the monument. The statue itself is meant to represent the um, the road, the twisting and winding road that
Oh, okay.
that led the people on the bus to their eventual doom. Of course, people who were sent to extract the bodies from the bus and identify the bodies also participated in identifying the bodies from the burnt houses after the October 7th massacre.
Yeah.
Now, the the big story here is that there was a big major presentation by the ever flashy Benjamin Netanyahu, who had the ceremony itself was orchestrated by legendary Israeli radio personality and narrator Dan Kaner, who obviously re- uh, well, I don't want to say hosted, but what do you just gave this the majority of the speeches and sort of I guess
Oh, MC.
yeah, MC for the ceremony itself, presenting Benjamin Netanyahu, presenting the statue itself, basically conducting the whole um, event.
Yeah, the master of ceremonies.
The master of ceremonies, during which, of course, he was reading out a pre-prepared script that I think we all can guess who was in charge of writing what he read in that master of ceremonies performance. But basically, he kind of pointed out that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was the first to recognize the severity of the situation and the great danger, and was the first to act, the first to and was able to save uh, the unaffected areas. Basically, it was a whole big puff piece for Netanyahu, presenting him as the big hero, the big savior of the event, which of course did not sit well with many of the people who lost their friends in the tragic event. Most notably, the husband of Ova Tomer, who
Yeah.
tragically lost her life trying to save the people from the bus. So, of course, this led to many parodies, including from the Israeli version the of SNL, to sort of have a mock speech where all they do is just praise Netanyahu for things he's never done, announcing him as the first to recognize the severity of the situation and whatnot, and even other members of the Israeli Knesset also jokingly praised Netanyahu in their speeches for several weeks after the fact. But well, that's the that's the world we live in,
Yeah.
where Netanyahu gets to hog all the fun, hog
Exactly.
all the attention. Yeah, this is it for my topic. Have you Do you have anything to
Yeah.
say? Have you learned anything you didn't know or
I mean, well,
something?
yeah. Majority of this is like, I mean, I in 2010, I don't recall this. Probably heard about it, saw it in the news, but I mean, it didn't stick. So all this is new, and I mean, yeah, like I kind of understand why you were taken aback with me last week when I didn't mean to be as condescending as I was, because I understand now that this was a pretty big tragedy. Like when I say it's like everyday thing over here, there's very rarely are towns and people involved. Whereas this, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, and it's mainly because of the smaller area and the density of populated
Yeah,
regions in such area. Where I'm assuming when these things happen on your end, they happen in mostly unpopulated
yeah,
region.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's been like twice in the last 10 years have towns been badly affected, but that's it. Mostly it's just big swatches of forest.
Yeah, and if you look in the background behind us, this is more or less how the area looked like for several months after the forest fire.
I believe it.
But I even saw it when I went on a trip, on a school field trip to the area,
I
not to
was
see
about to
the
ask
yeah, no, not to see the fires themselves. It was a completely different purpose, but it just happened to
to go
be
by.
in the general area of what happened. Nowadays, the place looks thriving, looks amazing.
I believe it. I
Yeah,
believe it.
almost as if the fire helped make the place look better. It's almost like you have to burn down a forest to allow it to naturally grow and be more
Pretty
beautiful
much.
than it was. That's just the nature of forests in a way,
Mhm.
especially in this region.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is my topic.
All right. So
I
yeah.
don't I don't think we need to introduce your topic for next week
So
because
pretty much it's just gonna be talking about Christmas traditions and what have you, and see which ones you've heard of and whatnot. And there is gonna be a couple things that I actually did not know until recently are the concepts were introduced in Canada.
cool,
Yeah.
and we get to learn all of that next week.
Yep.
But until then, where can the good people of the interwebs find you?
On my personal Instagram and Twitter, it's soda underscore the underscore saxman, and just here on the Northern Entertainment Group doing stuff with 50 as per usual.
Cool. And you can find me every Thursday, mostly every Thursday on this show, as well as every Monday on Greatest Show in the Galaxy, where I talk about the greatest show in the galaxy, Doctor Who, as well as my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2023. And I still haven't finished editing my review for the 60th anniversary specials. They're taking a bit longer than I expected, but hopefully I can get them up before the next Christmas special. But you can also check out all the other wonderful channels from the wider Benverse at large, like Something to Talk About. Are you still doing So Dig and Wrestling, or is it on hiatus?
Yeah, that's gonna be coming up and back up eventually.
As soon as wrestling starts back up again?
It's wrestling is like every doesn't take a break. It's just weird. The channel is just taking a break right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, A-Time Reviews, and in the front row, which is not pictured in this uh, thumbnail. And always remember, guys, we're doing it for this guy, our dear departed beloved friend Ben Rayner. And next week we're coming up on the full year anniversary of his
Yeah,
passing, and
a week
we just
today
talked about
actually.
what.
A week today.
Yeah, a week from today, and we were just talking about him before we started the show. We still miss him every day,
Mhm.
and more relevant to this show. Have you noticed that for a show called Fun with Flags, this is the most flag-filled episode we've ever done?
Yeah, because
Because of all the
I don't think we ever needed to talk about flags.
yeah, so there we go. We did something that's very fun with flags
Yeah,
ish before the year ends. And yeah, speaking of which, whether you're waving your flag for solidarity, for peace, to help other countries recover from a great tragedy, always remember that to let your geek flag fly. That's all we're really here for. So,
mhm.
so then until the next one, everybody, an early happy Christmas to all of you at home.
And to all a good
Goodbye.
night.